This evening, I shan't be long. I've said that every night that I've been here. And of course, I just like to say that I shan't be long. The only thing about that statement is it just sounds so British. Has no relevance at all. But I shall try. I'm going to ask you, if you will, to turn to the book of Jeremiah. If you have your personal copies of the Old Testament, turn with me to Jeremiah chapter number 2. And I will read verse number 13 of Jeremiah chapter number 2. Chapter number 13. Jeremiah 2, verse 13. I'll read it orally. You will read it with me silently. Jeremiah chapter number 2 and verse number 13. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewn them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me. That's the first thing. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters. And secondly, and hewn them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. Years ago, during the days of the gold rush, there were wagon trains that left the prairies of Texas as people made their way into California looking for gold. They would travel by wagon trains. And the story is told of one wagon train whose occupants had been told that there will be no trouble, number one, from the Indians, and number two, there will be fresh water for themselves and their stock. But that didn't happen. They ran out of water. And when they ran out of water, the group became antagonistic to one another. They began to do a lot of infighting because they were told that there would be ample water, but the cattle were dying and they were without water, and so they were disturbed. And so a group of the men in the wagon train decided there's got to be some water. And they decided what we'll do, we'll go out in the wilderness and we'll look for some water. And that's what they did. And they found a stream. And when they found the stream, they began to shout, "Here is water, here is water, it's going to be all right." And they dipped their hats in the stream and brought it to their mouths to drink. And as they drank the water and it passed over their palate, they found that the water was bitter and brackish and not conducive to satisfying their thirst. And they were so disappointed. But the stream was running, and it looked good. And they couldn't understand, and they sat down by the stream and they cried, how in the world could such a stream have such dirty water? And one of the old fellas, much older than the rest of the group, said nothing. He just got up, put his hat back on, and he decided to follow that stream. And as he followed that stream, he was saying to himself, there's got to be a fountainhead. And so as he methodically followed that stream, he found the fountainhead where the water was bubbling up from the ground. And he took his old hat and got a hat full of water and drank it, and it was sweet. It was good. And he cried aloud and told those down at the other end, come on up to the fountainhead. The water is clear, it's sweet, it's palatable. And so they came in a rush and they checked it and they got a hatful of water and they began to drink, and sure enough, the water was sweet, it was clear, it was good, and they began to shout. But then one of the fellows said, he said, isn't that strange? He said, this stream comes from this fountain. He said, but down here, the water is bitter and it's brackish and it's unpalatable and it's undrinkable. And so he asked the old fella, he said, how could that be? And the old man said, son, he said, here is the problem. He said, the problem is down there, we were drinking too far below the fountain. That's my text. Drinking too far below the fountain. Now, there are folk in this building tonight, in this house tonight, and I talked about denominationalism last night, and I showed you how that there are things in religion that's being perpetrated on people today through denominationalism, and folk think that God authorized it. And I showed you last night that God said that there are things that I didn't command, I didn't speak, and God said it never entered my mind. But these things do exist. And I know that there are honest folk tonight in this house, having heard that message last night, wonder, well, how is it that that preacher can say denominationalism is wrong? How can he say that? How can he say denominationalism is wrong when there are so many denominations? Yes, sir. Well, I'll tell you how I can say it. And I'll tell you not only how I can say it, but I'm going to show you the answer to it. Now, drinking too far below the fountain. First of all, there is a fountain. First of all, there is a fountain. And God and Christ is our spiritual fountain. And they have spiritual water. And I want you to also understand that salt water, and my voice will be all right in a few minutes, salt water and fresh water, James said, does not come from the same fountain. So if something is wrong down in the stream, it's not the fountain. Somebody been messing with the stream. Now, it's important to understand that there is a fountain. There is a pattern. There is a place of safety. And that place is the church. The church is God's plan for saving man.